to a Map Business Online uh, video presentation. I built a map based on data that's available through USDA or USA Facts. I downloaded a data set of COVID-19 contagions by county across the US. So you can see the county, state. There's a FIPS column that's state FIPS. That doesn't mean anything. But there's a county FIPS column over here. Mostly Map Business Online, I think, is looking at county and state. And so when it came in, it was really pretty easy. And you can see the data if you actually opened up all of the columns. You could see the data's by date. So it's starting on 1/22, and then it moves across, and every day they update it. And today I've got 3/24, so it's 3/25. So we're looking at yesterday's updates. All of that's imported in, and just so you can see as I go down here, so there's an 11 right there. So that's a total accumulation. You can see that particular state, county, I should say, was 1, 2, then 2, and then 4, and then 5, and then, so it's a running total. So really all you're worried about is that last data column, which is helpful. Once I figured that out, that was helpful. So I was able to bring that data into Map Business Online. It came in really easy. I've got 2 days worth here in my map view. I can delete yesterday's just by clicking my little delete button. But I did take the data for deaths by, I think it's deaths by county, and then I just summarized it by state by going through that process up here for symbolization using a graph, put charts on the map. And so I did that, and that's for 324 deaths. Just to walk you through that quickly, that's grabbing the data, clicking next, summarizing here by state, so that I rolled up my counties into state, and then moved on. I used 3 days worth. You could have gone up to 6 days worth, which would have extended this chart out 3 more bars. And then you can see that this is basically telling you that that's what that graph is. So in the legend, it's reflected, so you understand what it is. Although looking at the map, you know, once you click done or preview, the map shows those bars. And so those bars in the states with nothing going on, it really doesn't have a whole lot of meaning. You can see there's a little bit of activity in Nevada, but up in Washington State, it's got a lot of meaning, and you can see the trend is up. And certainly if you move the legend and look at New York, they're in the biggest trouble, as we all know from watching TV. The other thing I did just to get rid of the bar charts was I color-coded the deaths by state. Again, I was using either this button here or going in at the state layer in the map and data function, clicking the edit gear, and color-coding the map that way. Same button, same functionality, and you just walk through that process, grabbing your data, getting the right column of your data. And again, in this particular data set, it's 324 total. And that, again, I didn't have to do any summation or anything because I'm just using that column. And then I picked 5 ranges, and I made the ranges 10, 25, 50, 100, 226 based on the number of deaths, and thinking that that would give me a sensible view on the map, which I think it did. And you know, the extreme, of course, is the bright red, and then the sort of mellow pastelish, I don't know, baby green, we'll say, for the lower cases, and then the states with 0 cases, I went gray. And so those are decisions that I made based on how I wanted my map to look and feel. I also made my boundaries of the states black. I put my transparency at 20%. You can see a little bit of the background map. It's not important for this particular map view, but I kind of liked the way it looked, so I went with it. And then clicking into the label tab here, I formatted my labels by clicking Format Label and Auto Label, and that's where I added those text addendums with data. So I had the number of cases, the number of deaths, and the population. So cases came from my case data, deaths came from my death data, and then the population came from my included demographic data in Map Business Online. Other data that might be of interest to this analysis, and I may actually add that, is unemployment data is going to be important. There's a variety of different data sets out there, but I don't think they've all caught up with the frequency of the COVID data. So in other words, if you get unemployment, that might be weekly. It also might be monthly. And I know the Trump administration is trying to suppress a lot of that data too, so it may not even be available in some places. You might have to get it state by state. So it kind of depends upon what you want to put out there, but there's other data, is my point. And so I adjusted the labels accordingly to show that. And then I went in down here where I can manipulate the auto labels, and I made my text a dark purple, blue, maybe a dark blue, I guess. I turned off the shadow. I didn't like the shadow. You see how it kind of glares out a little bit. And I didn't think italics worked. I liked the up and down. I don't want a lot of distraction on this map. And I've got it set at the world level. State typically would be, again, if you were working with zip codes, you can adjust where those labels, those auto labels show up as far as zooming on the map, whether it's here at the country level or further in at the city, town, streets, and that kind of thing. So you've got control over when those labels start to occur. And you can see even with this particular state view, there are states that don't have any labels on them, and that's because there's just not enough room. And so the application does a process called generalization, and it makes sure that it doesn't trump any other labels. You can see where Massachusetts is, that they're just barely getting it on there, and Connecticut and Rhode Island they're out of luck. If we zoomed in to Vermont and New Hampshire, we see the labels. So it just gives you a way of kind of looking at the states, understanding why they look the way they do, and you can make adjustments depending upon how you want your map to look and feel. My legend was updated and clarified, so you can go in and edit all of that, keep it succinct, shorten any data layers, names that you've brought in, and make it, a few words that state what this is so that your map viewer knows what's going on right away. And then at the top, I've got a title bar. That title for the map is available here in the map and data tab. So I went in, just so you see that again, I just clicked the overall edit gear, and I've got there's my edit legend function, but there's the show map title button that puts that title on the map, and then I'm able to go in and edit that. I could copy and paste. You see I've got my little zoom thing on, so that's going to zoom me in. I'm just going to uncheck that and click back. So you've got that title. That's where I put the source for my data. So you can see USA Facts, they require that the source be revealed. So making sure you've got the right to use the data is important, and that you display where you got the data. In a nutshell, that's how I developed my COVID-19 novel coronavirus map, and we're going to have that in our map gallery, and it'll be updated daily using our SDK tools, which will make that update automatic. This is from my personal Map Business Online account, and I would have to update that manually unless I put the SDK in place. So there is a little bit of automation that's out there, and you'll be able to see how that works through the map gallery when that's published in a couple of days. Go to mapbusinessonline.com, wash your hands, stay safe. Let's stay at home as much as possible, and best of luck to everybody.